Hi and welcome to this tutorial about Simutrans. Today's topic is economy and supply chain. We have worked a lot around this mine which supply 4 power plants. Located on this 4 location. If we now take up this mine in a flow chart instead, we see this is a simple supply chain, one step. This coal mine in the center and the 4 power plant. I normally don't make a lot of calculation for this type of industry. The reason why I don't normally make a lot of calculation is it takes simply time and I don't get the time back. But we start as a demonstration. Because coal mine can supply other more advanced supply chain. And one of the things we mostly want to know in coal mine is how much free capacity. So good starting point is of course the name of the mine, normally the local name. The basic production or consumption of the industry, which in this mine is 5,100, and we can also boost the production with, in this case, electricity and passenger. And I also store how much I can boost it. And after boosting, we can see how much they actually produced after that. So the basic idea here is to have one sheet for each industry, but don't go overboard. Power plant don't change, they cannot be boosted and so on, so I simply have static number here instead of linked number. But in the future maybe I put in some other industry, a steel mill for example, which have a more advanced supply chain which are linked. But now we have this free capacity. That is what we want. So let us now move on with more complex supply chain, because that also means more complex calculation, or if you don't doing the calculation, it takes a lot more time to actually get the supply chain up and running. A slightly more advanced supply chain is this. Notice I have also changed the name little by calling it s1e21 or P1. This industry are a consumer. They don't deliver any supply to other, and it can be boosted by electricity, passenger and mail. Up here we also see what they want. They're consuming planks, steel and AAC stone. That means concrete. But there is only a sawmill, so there is no steel mill for the moment. So we cannot sell steel transport to them just now, but in the future. And the sawmill here have similar. It can be boosted by electricity only. But the sawmill needs timber, which they get from a wood. And that wood cannot be boosted by anything. So here we have 3 industries which are linked with 2 chains. But if we need more timber than this wood can supply, we need one more link to this wood, which are placed further away. So a quick look on the map. We see there is the construction yard or warehouse. There is the sawmill, and the first wood is over there, and the second wood is down there. and here it is in the flow chart. So get this up and running, we need to do calculation here, here, and also here, because we can boost thing. To make it simple, we have two sheets. This is the construction warehouse, the basic production, the boosting, and what they ask for. They have no customer because they don't supply anything to other. And here the sawmill, and also how much plank they want. We will also increase the consumption of cargo by electrify this industry, because we have a power plant close by, so we can do that calculation immediately. And because of this now are linked, the calculation for the sawmill are also updated now. And if you take a look on the sawmill, we see the same thing here. And the sawmill use, if we take a closer look here, to produce one plank they need 1.2 timber. And that are also the calculation we made here. So everything here are linked and calculation are made. So I simply update on one place, and after that all the number are rolling out there we need them. And we see here that the wood are sufficient supply by one of the woods. So this will be a quite simple chain to actually get up and running. But we have also one more complicated chain with lot of calculation internally in the industry, and I think we should go on and take a look on that now. We should now take a look on a more advanced supply chain around this pharmacy. The pharmacy are located here. It is supplied by two industries, a medical packaging industry, which are located here, and a chemical industry locating here. So two type of cargo to the pharmacy. But notice this, the medical packing industry are also supplied by the same chemical industry. If we take a look in the flow chart, we see we have this situation. We supply all to the chemical industry. The chemical industry produce chemical and printing ink. The chemical are at the moment transporting to medical industry and pharmacy. And from the medical industry we transporting medical to the pharmacy. This supply chain is more complicated and it is more messy calculation, and they are also more advanced inside the industry. So let us now take a look on that. Alright, first here we have some statistic. Here we say 100%. That means that this industry will have 100 units of chemical each month. But medicine is 75%. They only want 75 units each month of medical. We now can see this in the calculating sheet. We will start by boosting this industry directly because we will connect it electrically. And that means increased demand. The new number will be this for this industry. So this will be the first step in the calculation. Now move on to the medical industry. Here we see 100%, nothing complicated, and 213%, 2.3 unit of chemical for each unit medical. Calculation is quite simple here. We can boost it and so on, but not at the moment necessary. Here we have the pharmaceut and how much medical they want, and here we have the formula for calculation of chemical. Now it starts to be messy when we start to take a look on the chemical industry. They produce chemical and printing ink. Here we see the customer for this chemical industry, the pharmaceut and the medical packing industry, and the total demand for chemical. And down here we have the demand for printing ink, which are 0 at the moment because we don't have any printing press. Now to the complicated calculation of need for oil. What happened actually inside this industry is they produce a base product, which they after that turn into chemical and printing ink. 60% of the basic product will be chemical, 30% printing ink. So this industry have a main product and a byproduct. They also need 300% oil for production of the basic product. Okay, calculation. Because they have two products, we need to calculate the oil consumption for each product. And for chemical, it is the need of chemical divided by 60 multiplied by 3, the oil consumption. But out of this oil we also make printing ink. So we need to take the maximum consumption of oil and give us that number. And that means we introduce a new formula, max, which simply take the biggest number and return it. Now we know how much oil this industry will have. And it's also automated. Now can we see the oil supplier and see how much free capacity we have. So why should I create a sheet for calculation of demand? Well, as you can see, the calculation become more and more messy the more complicated supply chain you get. And in the future you will have more complicated supply chain with more step. And when you have industry like this, which have free capacity, it is common to use that capacity in new supply chain. That means that you need to do the calculation again if you don't save them. So how often come new industry? Well, there is actually a formula for this. If you go to a town, you can see under this site the city hall, the city size, and so on. City grow, but when they are double in size, something happen in the game. Many times it's new memorial like this, which increase the demand for passenger and mail. But sometimes they grow a new supply chain for industry. That means new industry. And that also means more job for your company and more transporting. So depending on how successful you are, this growth of towns can increase more or less. Because industry drive towns, mail drive town, and passenger also drive towns. So the big thing here is reuse as much as possible, do it dynamically and automated, and simply update with new information to save time, so you can concentrating on expanding the company instead of doing calculation. And of course have a template for this, so it is simpler and faster to do this. If we take a look on road transport, we see that each line generated profit. However, if we go in under finances and take a look here, we see the company generated profit, but we can also sort them by different type of vehicle. So if we take up truck, for example, we see that trucks overall don't generate profit. And we have trucks here and along this long line driving waste to the incinerator here. And it is probably this long line causing the problem. And if we take a look here and only show what is in use, we see bonus here, 0. That means we will not pay any penalty if we transporting waste slower than the assigned speed. So no effect on the income for the speed. However, a road which are able to drive the car we use as fast as possible costs us 20 per grid. A slower road costs 8. So the plan is to lower the speed from 45 km to 40, and that way reduce the cost of owning the road. I have now switched to the slower road and put out more vehicle to compensate it for the lower speed. And it takes little more than a couple of months to do that, so we actually get a new year here. But as you see, last year turned from doing a loss to profit. So now trucks actually generated profit even on the total level 2. That was everything I have to show you. Thanks for watching and have a nice day. In the next episode, we start to take a look on more advanced supply chain. Supply chain in 2 steps, and we should supply a sawmill and a construction warehouse with their respective cargo.